What's up guys, it's Shuichi here and I wanted to talk about the joys of camping spots in Call of Duty Zombies. Now, I know this video may seem out of place for a zombies analyst video, but I wanted to take a step back and do some reminiscing and talk about something optimistic for once, instead of complaining about that dude that opened the forbidden door on Kino, or how they took away our jug for a brief period of time. Basically, in this video, I'm going to talk about why these spots were essential to the community and list a good bit of camping spots in each of the Call of Duties. Of course, I'm not going to list all because this video would go on for hours. I don't even know how many camping spots there are. Basically, you can camp wherever you want as long as you can make it work. Just whatever you do, please do not camp on the elevators on Die Rise. That is a safety hazard and I do not condone it. This, of course, comes from experience after going AFK in the elevator during an Easter egg run back when I was in high school. Do not recommend it. Anyways, let's explore the topic, shall we? The number one concept in Call of Duty Zombies, or at least in the older zombies, has been always centered around going for rounds. Of course, you could have went for an Easter egg, but after you did the Easter egg, you would still be going for rounds unless you didn't like finishing a game. The go-to during this would be getting set up, getting everything you needed properly out of the box, hoping RNG gods would bless you, getting pack punch, getting all the perks, making sure you do not lose the perks, getting set up. It all sounds tedious. But you know, we don't even need to go that route to go for high rounds. We don't need to stress or do any of that jazz. Unless you're stressing about going for a world record, this isn't really something to worry about. You could take a step back and not have to worry about giving somebody a certain training area because they're bad, or worrying about what part of the map so somebody else doesn't run into you. With this, I'm talking about the obvious. I'm talking about bringing a couple of chairs with you and finding a good camping spot on the map that you want to play. This method was crucial to zombie players because it gave you guys a chance to relax. At the end of the day, whether it was coming home from work or getting off school, you and your team could just find a corner and camp without having to work too hard to stay alive. It'd give your team a chance to talk about the day without having to think too much. While one or two people killed the zombies, the others could just go back and forth getting drinks and chilling. You guys could sit and talk about your day, such as that rude customer you had at the front desk. Or perhaps you and your friends saw the new Thor movie and you want to talk about why it was so good, or bad if that's how you felt. Basically, it was one of the best ways to unwind, because you got to just sit there slaughtering zombies while just relaxing with your homies. That being said, I don't mean to take away from the strategy itself. It's actually really good. It won't get you any really high rounds, but it will still get you far with your friends. It was a great strategy because you guys would be grouped up together. You wouldn't have to worry about running across the map to go revive that friend in time and not have to worry about his horde blocking you off. If one of your friends had the monkey bombs, you could have him use it while you guys booked it to the teleporter at sea to get to spawn so you could pack a punch. Not to mention that one friend who would have the Wonder Waff or the Thunder Gun and you could use it to clear the zombies at any point, saving your asses. Lastly, you guys could take breaks alternating between rounds, though I would not recommend this because usually you'd come back to a game over screen. Yes, I am also speaking from experience on this one. Why did I go AFK? No, seriously though, this would help if you needed to go AFK and check on your spouse, or if your parents tried to tell you to get up and pause your game, despite not being able to pause it. All around, camping spots were great for the community because it helped strategy-wise and it brought people closer together in weird ways, I guess. I mean, let's be honest, imagine all the weird stories people have probably told you while sitting on that catwalk, or the weird questions people have proposed.
Would you consider Minecraft hacks to be locked out?
What the fuck are you referring to?
Minecraft hacks.
Yeah, that doesn't explain much.
Yeah, you know Minecraft hacks.
That's not explaining anything! Actually, it's Call of Duty, so I do not recommend remembering those. After all that, let's go over a good bit of camping spots in Call of Duty Zombies. I wanted to list some camping spots that were really good and some that we used that were really bad. I'm sure you know which ones I'm referring to because even though they were bad, we all used them. And you know, even though they were bad, they were still fun to use. Kinda, I guess. We're gonna start this list off with World at War, with one of the most notable camping spots in Call of Duty ever. No, I'm not talking about the spot above the staircase and knock. I'm talking about the catwalk in Reise. Anytime you load up Reise in a public lobby, I can almost guarantee you're gonna see people heading straight to the catwalk as soon as they're set up. It's a good place to go. Everybody knows to go there if they're trying to stay safe. In the World at War version, you would see everybody stocking up on bouncing betties, and at the end of every round, they'd go back there and place the bouncing betties there because they were a good item. Those bouncing betties would clear any zombies out in an instant. The only downside of the bouncing betties was when an occasional hellhound would spawn up there and blow them all up. The catwalk had two different escapes if you didn't get yourself trapped all the way in the back, and it was next to a teleporter so you can get back to spawn in an instant. It's a classic, and it will always go down in the books as one of the most notable camping spots ever. When we move on to Black Ops, I don't think there was any notable camping spots on the game. But if you didn't want to train on Kino, there were two different spots you could use. First off, we had Jug. People would camp Jug while they were trying to recover. I personally don't think this was a great location, but people would still use it. We also had the alleyway where double tap is. Depending on how you went into the alleyway, people would camp on either side, and they would not open either the door leading into the fire room or the door leading upstairs. I personally like this camping spot, and I did go for high rounds here, but as you can see from this footage, I did not do too well this run. The other map we're going to pull from Black Ops is going to be 5. And remember how I said not all camping areas were created equal? This one was a camping area alright, but you would more than likely die if you used it for too long. And for this camping spot, I'm referring to the elevators, both of them. In the lower rounds, people would use the higher elevator because you go up and down and it was easy to maintain. In later rounds, you would start to use the bottom elevator, but you wouldn't use it too often because it had a window built inside of it and it was too big to maintain. The reason I say this spot is bad is because it's easy to get overrun. It was used often, but you got overrun way more often than you would manage it. And before anybody mentions it, I know the war room was also a camping spot, but there were a few windows in it, so it wasn't as good of a spot to maintain. The rest of Black Ops I'm going to gloss over because they weren't as memorable. We could talk about camping on the second staircase by PhD on Ascension. We could also talk about camping in Jug on Call of the Dead. I'm sure we could also talk about camping on Shangri-La and Moon. There's a lot of maps, as I said, with camping spots, but they're not as memorable. Moving on to Black Ops 2, Transit had a good bit of camping spots, some not so great, but still used. If we focus solely on the bus depot section of the map, people would camp where the rock is by the nav card. If you get the trap set up, it was a good spot. Just don't get yourself trapped in there or overwhelmed. Make sure to leave enough health that you can run over the lava and you should be fine. Also, don't do as I do and accidentally place your trap on the lava because it will destroy it and you'll have to go all the way back to power to grab another one. Going into survival / grief mode, we have the spot right where Quick Revive is on town. You'd see at least 5 of the 8 players camping this spot because it was a good area, the mystery box would be there, and it was maintainable. You wouldn't see it as much in survival mode, but it was still a last resort type of deal. Next up, we have this spot in grief mode on Mob of the Dead. It was probably one of the best camping spots there was because right when the zombies got to you, you could jump right off the ledge as long as you didn't take enough damage. Pair that with having 8 players up there and you could go for a good bit of rounds. Oh my. Just watch out because you might get that one troll player that will knife you off the ledge, screwing everything up for you and the other team. Next up we have Buried, and Buried's going to be explored a little more in detail because there's apparently a shit ton of... You're telling me I have to cover all these? Is there not anybody that can like maybe take my place? No, boy, just get on with that damn list. Okay, I'm back. Let's get on with this list. As I was saying before, there's a shit ton of spots on Buried, and I've covered this in a list before. Buried itself is a great camping map because of all the funds you can pull out of the bank, the weapon you can pull out of the bank, the mystery box that never moves, the fact there's perma perks that help you not lose your perks if you go down, all the buildables, oh my god, the buildables, there's so many of those, and the fact there's so many camping spots on this map alone that make it ridiculous. Let's try not to spend too much time because there's so many spots and I need to name a little bit about it. So you have Jug, which is a straight narrow line that makes it perfect for setting up the traps like the head cutter. You have the spot right above the grocery store because zombies funnel up one at a time onto the roof. You have the nav card reader because you can funnel them through that small entrance and you can run a small train in there if you get stuck. Just remember there is a zombie spawn in the middle of that room, so be careful. You have the spot right above Saloon that has a perfect exit in case you ever get trapped. You can just walk through that exit and it's perfect for setting up your traps in there. You have the spot right across from Speed, but most people do not use this one. I don't recommend it either because of that zombie window to the right. You have the spot above Voltrade. Not many people use it, but this one is also a good spot. Lastly, you have Pack-a-Punch, but the downside of Pack-a-Punch is there is only one long exit that you have to climb up, and there's a zombie barrier inside the area. I'm sure that covers most of Buried, but I am not getting any more in detail than that. That is a lot as is. Lastly, on Black Ops 2, we have this cubbyhole in Origins. If you're at the tank with your team and hop off one at a time, you will get in here, and it's an okay spot, but you'll probably get stuck. The only exit is where you came, so you gotta manage yourself properly. With all those stabs going off though, I don't know if you're gonna have a bit of trouble. Lastly, on Black Ops 3, there's only one spot I want to cover. Yeah, there's the entrance to Waterfront. Yes, there's the staircase onto Eisendrach. But let's talk about this spot on Zetsubo. First off, before I go into this spot, I want to start by saying the downside of this is that you have to do the Easter egg for this map. Thankfully, this is one of the easiest Easter eggs there is out there, so you shouldn't have too much trouble. Pair that with the fact it has a really good wonder weapon on the map, and you will be unstoppable. Sorta. That all depends on your skill. Okay, going into this spot, it is like 5. It's an elevator that leads you into the boss fight, but you need to do the boss fight first. Once you do it, you can camp that long hallway with the wonder weapon, and you can go on for rounds upon rounds upon rounds, pairing that with gobble gums that give you max ammos, raindrops, round robins. You and your team are almost unstoppable. At any time that you need to leave, that elevator is free of charge, so you can keep going back up and down. If you haven't tried this spot, I recommend trying it at least once. It's really, really good. Okay, as I said, I did not want to cover every spot, just a good bit of notable ones, good and bad. If you haven't already, I ask that you please like and subscribe. I try to upload zombies content every week, usually around 1 to 2 regular videos and between 3 to 5 shorts a week. So yeah. That's going to end it for this video. If you have any video suggestions you want to see, make sure to leave it in the comments. If you have any constructive criticism, make sure to leave it in the comments as well. Lastly, as I said, make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, don't die.